Hello from a rather foggy day on the sea, but hey, we cannot wait for the sun to share some experiences. And today I want to share an experience, a recent one that I had just the other day during my weekend long run. I am a type 1 diabetic, so a lot of complexity to manage. And essentially what happened is that I went for the run, and my blood glucose spiked a lot during the run. And at that point I was confronted with some decisions to make in terms of blood glucose management, because normally I would eat my nutrition gels, some carbs during the run, during the workout, if the workout is particularly long, as it was the case this time. It was around 2 hours. And of course also what to do afterwards. There is a nutrition, like a feeding window that you want to exploit, 30 minutes to 1 hour after the run, to make sure that you get some good food into the system to replenish the stores and get a good start to the recovery process. But yeah, what to do when your blood glucose is around 250, 260, and you don't want to necessarily wait all the time to eat, because you need your body to recover. So essentially this time, why did this happen? Because I did two mistakes. So usually I run fasted. I like to just run fasted. Let me just change the scenario here. I just like to run fasted. I prefer that. But before a long run, I usually eat something. So on the day, I woke up with a blood glucose of around 150, which was perfect, for at least perfect, for the purpose of a long run. But I wanted to have it a little bit higher, to have a little bit of a safer margin from hypoglycemia. So I ate 2 medjool dates, which were around 40 grams of carbs in total. I completely forgot to inject the bolus for that snack. Usually I do not eat any, so I do not inject any insulin, but you also want to avoid big spikes, because there is the down phenomenon. So when your blood glucose in the early morning starts to rise naturally, because your body wakes up and needs a little bit of an energy injection. So I did not account for that. I forgot to take my insulin. Usually I take half of what I would need, or even less, 30% of the bolus amount that I would need for that particular amount of carbs. So for example, if for 40 grams of carbs I would need, 2 units of insulin, normally on the day I would take 1 or even half a unit, just to keep it a little bit under control. But I forgot, and then I went for the run. And what I noticed is that halfway through the run, my blood glucose went from 170 by the time I started to 230. And so first decision to make: do I take the nutrition gels? Do I keep the carb coming despite the fact that my blood glucose is already elevated? And well, at that point, for me, there is no doubt. I will go for the gels. I will feed the athlete first, and then deal with the diabetic. So especially during a long run, the important runs for a marathon or any other big events that you have in mind, you want to make sure that those key sessions go well. And I wanted to have a good performance all the way until the end. So I took the gels. I knew that it would spike my blood glucose even more, but I also knew that all that running would do something to at least tame the spike a little bit. So I went for the gels, no problems, and And then I finished my run successfully, very strong, very well performing, so very good, very satisfied with that. But then the second decision came by the time I reached home. So, you know, as I was saying, you have like a 30 minutes ideal window for feeding your body with some good nutrition after such a big stress, like a long run. And my blood glucose at the time, when I stepped into my house, was around 260. And normally I would take my injection, wait for 1 hour, or however long it takes for the blood glucose to come down, and then eat only when the blood glucose is already down to a more acceptable level. But this time I didn't want to wait, because I knew that delaying my post-workout meal would probably have an impact on the effectiveness of and the speed of the recovery process, and I want to stay injury-free. So what I did was taking my injection, adjusting, of course, the bolus amount, given the fact that I just run for a very long time. I only waited for 30 minutes, so my blood glucose was at 260 by the time I finished my workout. By the time I started eating, and I ate slowly, that was most important. I ate slowly nonetheless, so that also helped to regulate the spike and avoid the spikes altogether. But by the time I started eating, my blood glucose was around 220, and it was trending down, so I knew it would come down, also because I was much more insulin sensitive thanks to the run. But once again, the athlete had the priority over the diabetic in me. And this is kind of a little bit of a mindset shift that I had to make at some point during my preparation for the marathon, and the training, with the experience of the training, because some other times I would skip the breakfast and wait 1-2 hours, but that was very detrimental for the recovery, for the long-term sustainability of the training. And again, I wanted to avoid injuries, I wanted to avoid poor performance. So out on the run, I knew my blood glucose was elevated, and I kept my gels coming, my carbs coming, and when I came back, I also ate my breakfast without necessarily waiting the appropriate time, the time that I would normally wait before eating. And that is the thing. So I wanted to share this because it was a big dilemma for me in the past. It is not anymore. When I'm running, I am an athlete, and then 95% of the time, the remaining 95% of the time, I am a diabetic, and I do what needs to be done to be a healthy diabetic. And in any case, it's not those 2 to 3 hours with a higher blood glucose that are the problem, because when looking at my weekly stats, I was in range 97% of the time, and that's okay. It's a compromise that I can accept. I will just do what is required to run without problems, avoiding hypoglycemias and performing strong. And so I can afford having a little bit of a higher blood glucose for a couple of hours. It's not a problem. At least this is how I see it. And of course, having a steady and good timing range really comes down to a lot of good decisions, good food, waiting the appropriate time between your injection and the time you start eating. How slow you eat. Eating slowly is crucial for blood glucose management, especially with the high carb diet. I eat a lot of carbohydrates and low fat. That is crucial for insulin sensitivity. And yeah, so when you are in that situation, you are, you know, in range for the vast majority of time, then, you know, it can happen. It can happen that, you know, you make a mistake, and then you have to do what paradoxically is the less healthy thing to do for a short period of time, which is keep keep the carbs coming, despite the fact that your blood glucose is already high. And in any case, after my breakfast, despite, you know, eating it without waiting and with even less insulin than usual, my blood glucose came down to 108 after 1 hour from the meal, and it stayed within the 80 to 150 range, which is my reference range for the remaining part of the day. So yeah, this is how I handled this situation. I also documented it on the blog. You can see a little bit more in detail what I ate, how my blood glucose was during the day. I've posted everything in there, all the pictures. We also the macronutrient split for the meals I ate. And so yeah, I just wanted to share this because when I started, I had no nobody telling me this, and I needed this advice. And yeah, I mean, it's not advice that I'm giving, but it's just sharing my honest, raw experience. I hope this helps, and to many more long runs. Have a great day.